Nearly a year ago, just for the hell of it, I created my own class of drag cars within the game BeamNG using its original car models and a couple mods following some simple rules. All the cars had one power adder only, were front engine, rear wheel driven, and retained full bodies plus roll cages if available. Today, I'm bringing 10 of those cars here to Bradenton Motorsports Park with shiny new paint jobs and updated setups adapted to better negotiate this tricky racetrack, and I'm sharing all of it with you. Hello everybody, welcome to the return of Beam Outlaws. You heard right, if you're into BeamNG and drag racing, grab a pen and a paper or get ready for some screenshots, because I'm sharing everything you need to build any of these cars for yourself before taking each of them down the Bradenton quarter mile from slowest to fastest to show you how they run. And as an added bonus, I'll be taking the quickest of these 10 supercharged beasts, throwing a heavy dose of nitrous at it, and going full send just for the hell of it. All of the cars here are BeamNG originals, and the only mods you'll need are Mio's drag parts and Mio's 500 cubic inch funny car engine, both available in the in-game repository. If you enjoy this, don't forget to hit the thumbs up to remind YouTube it's some pretty good shit. If this is the kind of thing you're into, subscribe to the channel for more. If you're trying any of this for yourself, let me know in the comments how quick you're able to go with these things. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's get right into it with the first car of the day. Or make that a truck. This is the Gavril D-Series. Like everything you're going to see today, it's equipped with the 500 cubic inch supercharged funny car engine from Mio's and uses a 4-speed automatic drag transmission with a variable torque converter. The D-Series and Beam Outlaws trim is the only vehicle I had yet to put into the 5-second zone, with the best pass on the West Coast drag strip being a 6.115 at 252 miles per hour. After that, I struggled with it somewhat, trying to keep it from trying to launch into space. I've since managed to figure it out for the most part, so what you're getting here isn't going to rotate the planet or anything, but it is going to make it down the racetrack more often than not. How about that? The D-Series is finally in the 5s after a 5.964 253 mile per hour pass. There was plenty of driving to do there, but the front end at least touched down enough to make some corrections along the way. Okay, time for the car formerly known as Porky. This is the Gavril Burnside, possibly the sketchiest car you could be trying this stuff with. I struggled with this car in any outlaw form for a long time. After narrowing some of its handling issues down to the drag wing causing lift instead of downforce, I was finally able to hang on to it long enough down the West Coast strip to lay down a best of 5.766 at 258 miles per hour. Away from the pool table smooth surface of that track, in its only prior attempt here at Bradenton, I backpedaled my way in it to a 601 at 248. I wish I could say I performed a miracle with this thing, and I can guarantee it will go straight down track every time, and that may be the case on a smooth track now. Here, however, it's anyone's guess. When it does make it to the finish line, however, it gets there rather quickly. 5.681 at 260 miles per hour for the Gavril Burnside, and I might have done it without a scratch. Miracles do happen. This is a car that really doesn't want to go straight. When it makes a move towards the wall, it's tempting to try and correct that, but it takes so little to upset things that just finessing it enough to not scrape the paint off the side while pointing mostly straight is about the best you can safely do. Here comes a bit of a surprise. It's a Brockwell Moonhawk. The surprising part is the fact that we're seeing it out this early here. The Moonhawk, without the use of game mods, is one of just 2 6-second cars. With mods, during the original Beam Outlaw series, it was the quickest on nitrous, with turbochargers, centrifugal supercharger, and in the 500-inch blower combo we're using today, laid down the second quickest pass of all Outlaws yet, with a 5.572 at 275 miles per hour on the West Coast Strip. When brought here to Bradenton, however, the half-track dip and bumps really hurt the Moonhawk's performance, and I was only able to manage an on and off the throttle 581 at 235 miles per hour. I've since worked to help it make it through that part of the track while keeping my foot on the floor, and it does work much better. It's just not able to go quite as quick as it would on a smoother track. A 5.650 at only 245 miles per hour for the Moonhawk. An ICT, but that's still 30 miles per hour short of what the car is capable of. Like I said, this car is a beast early on. It just doesn't handle the half-track dip very well. Here's a car that's fairly new to the channel, and had I realized at the time that you could fit one of these engines into this car, it would have been a part of the original Beam Outlaws series as part of the supercharged group. This is the Ibishu 200BX, and no, that wing's not on there just because I think it looks cool, cause I don't. It's there because it works, and it's an important part in keeping this thing hooked up and pointed straight-ish. I've only brought this thing out on this channel one time previously, and that was right here at Bradenton, where it was a little bit of a handful and didn't show its true potential. I've got that pretty much sorted out, however, and it now makes it down this track pretty well more often than not. The Ibishu 200BX, or the 5.632 275 miles per hour straight down the middle. Nice pass for the little import. I really love the appearance of this car, it just looks fast. On to another high-winged warrior and unlikely outlaw, the ETK K series. Another car I didn't discover until after the original Beam Outlaw series. Of all the cars that I've used in this game, through game updates, this is the car that was most changed since it was originally built. There was a time when this car was magically glued firmly to the ground at all times, or so it seemed, and that made the original build really difficult without being able to achieve proper weight transfer. I did manage to figure it out mostly, and the wing is a result of that, and with it, right here in Bradenton, managed to run a 5.682 at 260 miles per hour in what was probably the most boringly straight run of that episode. Since then, it seems like some physics updates have fixed that, and I was able to set this thing up to work pretty much like all the rest of the cars here today, and it's now not only plenty quick, but more fun to drive as well. ETK series, or the 5.565 at 258 miles per hour. I still don't like the look of this car, I think it's kind of ugly, but I do like the look of how it runs with the improved physics. Here is the OG car for this channel. This is the Gavril Blue Buck. The Blue Bucks have always been pretty quick in whatever form I use them as. On the West Coast Strip, this car's best pass is a 5.609 at 266 miles per hour. That setup here in Bradenton bucked and bounced to an on and off the throttle 5.74 at 249 miles per hour. Like most of the cars here, I spent a lot of time on the suspension of the Blue Buck to help it cope better with the trickier surface, and the result is a pretty good working race car now. Blue Buck runs a 5.549 at just 250 miles per hour. You can hear the RPMs bouncing up and down with the car itself from half track on. That's likely where the lost speed went, but it gets the power down fairly well up until that point. And it comes up with a nice ET. Next out is another surprise. This is a Gavel Grand Marshal. The surprise is that the Beam Outlaws series here, the Grand Marshals have always been the slowest in each of the categories and only just quicker than the D-Series pickup truck. Here today it's the 4th quickest of 10 cars. On the West Coast strip, we've seen this car only run a best of 5.963 at 254 miles per hour early in the Beam Outlaws series. Here in Bradenton, it did everything but go straight to only a 608 at 248. To say there was some improvement to be found is an understatement. I built around 30 or so cars for that original series, and the slowest of each categories were dropped early on without further development, so it was nice to get another look at this one. The vastly improved Grand Marshal puts up a 5.501 at 274 miles per hour. Staying mostly in the middle of the lane all the way to the stripe. This car likes to move around early on in the run. If you can keep it out of trouble until half track, it settles some through the dips and makes a nice strong pass. Onto the 3rd quickest car of the day, and it's a Gavel Barstow, this one using the GT drag body. I always enjoy playing with the Barstows. They're always amongst the quickest and always a handful, but so much fun to drive. In the original Beam Outlaw series, this one lived up to the quick part at the West Coast strip, running a best of 5.709 at 278 miles per hour. Here in Bradenton, it lived up to the handful part, getting all kinds of out of shape and crossing the center line and failing to put up a time. I believe I've gotten all that sorted out, and the fact that it's among the quickest cars again here today is a decent indication of that. Straight down the middle to a 5.483 at nearly 275 miles per hour for the Gavel Barstow. And we can't get out completely without some drama. That's going to scratch the paint some. You couldn't ask for a much straighter pass though, the Barstow just bouncing the front wheels on and off the track all the way to the finish line, having no issue at all with the bumps and dips, at least until after the stripe. Okay, I don't know how many of you would see this one coming because I didn't. This is the ETK I series, and this is the 2nd quickest car here today. Another one I only discovered after the original Beam Outlaw series. This thing is pretty cool. Easily the smallest and lightest of the cars here in this series, its short wheelbase can get you into trouble pretty quickly if you're not ready for it. In its only previous appearance on this channel, I brought it here to Bradenton, where it demonstrated that point by nearly hitting the wall, followed by a near mid-track rollover. When you get it right, however, this little thing can lay one down. A 5.480, 270 miles an hour for the ETK I series. You can see in the replay this thing will lift the front end in every gear. You gotta be ready for that because there's only so many chances to correct the direction it's pointing, and it's not uncommon to find it pointing at the wall or center line with no way to correct it but getting off the throttle. Here we go with the quickest car here today, and the new quickest car in the Beam Outlaw series period. This is the Brock Bastion. This one really isn't a big surprise. Although it normally plays second fiddle to the dominating Moonhawk throughout the Beam Outlaws series, this thing goes straight down just about any track every time. That's no exaggeration. This thing dominated on the Motorsports Playground dirt track, and on the asphalt of the West Coast drag strip, it's run a best of 5.573 at 270 miles per hour. Here in Bradenton last year, it went straight down the track to a 5.616 at 268 miles per hour. With a car that I know will go straight, I was able to get pretty aggressive with the converter settings on this to really see what this track might hold. The result is pretty amazing actually. How about a 5.350 at 279 miles per hour? One tiny wiggle through the half-track dip, then straight through for low ET and top speed of the day here in Bradenton. That was a beautiful pass, like it was on rails. If you thought a 5.35 was nice, stick around a couple more minutes because you haven't seen it all yet. As promised, I'll be bringing the Bastion out for one more pass, with nearly the same setup aside from a gearing change, but with the addition of a whole lot of nitrous oxide that will turn this 4,800 horsepower beast into an 8,000 plus horsepower beast. If there's any car that can handle 8,000 plus horsepower, it's this one, but I did find diminishing returns with any more power than that. In fact, after a certain point the car starts running slower again. A 5.218, 293 miles per hour, and I'm pretty sure I read over 300 miles per hour on the dashboard before getting off the loud pedal on that one. And there's not going to be enough room to stop this time. Wow, the Brockel Bastion makes for one badass race car. Once again, this car just goes straight as an arrow down the middle just about every time. That was cool. I hope you enjoyed the action here today. Maybe some of you even found it helpful. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, keep it in your own damn lane.